Because when you build a new platform, I believe like it should be first and foremost for the creators to express their creativity in new ways that you will not find in other formats and other platforms.
Do you see it is as seamless to create content and become a content creator and make money in Web3 as it is in Web2? Or do you see any gaps, and which of course provides an opportunity to be filled? Can you give us a teaser of what's going to be announced tomorrow?
What will be announced tomorrow, 9 p.m. Singapore time, will essentially and hopefully be an answer for them, like to access a wider range of possibilities.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking out the time and love the energy here. And it's a pleasure to be sitting next to you, Sebastien. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Sorry for being a few minutes late. Hope everyone is still focused, having a bit of attention before like I see the food and all. This venue is amazing. If you have time to look around, as I was walking by, I was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That I want to explore. So thank you for having me today. I look forward to a few announcements coming at Sandbox on like what we've been working for the past few months. So exciting.
Thank you. And yeah, likewise, I totally agree. Like, I think these are the best locations to host an event. Really lively, and I can see the energy in the crowd as well. And let's dive right into it. There's been so many amazing things happening at Sandbox, Sebastien. But before we dive into it, would really love to hear from you about the creator economy. How do you see that evolving? We are in 2025 now. The Web3 space in itself has evolved substantially. The understanding of the retail users at large of what Web3 as a technology can mean for them, that has evolved. But one thing which has remained consistent is the importance of Web3 for creators. How do you see that has changed, and what role is Sandbox playing in that now in the mixed journey that you are evolving into?
Right. So, at Sandbox, our main mission has always been to empower anyone to become a creator. Like with technology, creating content, whether it's a game, a video, or any form of AI agent nowadays has become really accessible and easy. But getting started, creating one is just like getting started. It's just the first step. And there's many other challenges that are like content creators are facing. Challenges to be discovered, challenges to engage and retain an audience, to build a community and grow it, to access monetization and make enough revenue that they can make a living from that activity. Sometimes the challenge is to be paid. Like we still, even if like the creator economy is like a $250 billion economy, can you believe that on average, content creator like are paid over after 30 to 90 days. So after like they made, this month I made $1,000 for my activity, streaming online, getting some form of revenue. The money isn't in your bank account until like 2 months later minimum. And so how can you grow as a content creator? Can you invest into yourself, your production, your travel, your logistics, grow your community through that way? And so I believe we're only touching the surface right now. There's been a lot of excitement originally from content creators around like, let's explore blockchain, let's explore NFTs. Now some of them are starting to touch around like creator tokens with launchpads like Pump Fund, Bank Fund, etc. But the reality is like for the main majority of content creators, whether they are like in fashion, in sports, in music, in gaming as well, like this must be something better for them to build like the loyalty with their audience, to offer value to their community and to monetize. And so linking to Sandbox, we onboarded over 8 million users to Web3 through all our brands partnership, more than 400 major brands partnership. We've been a leader in virtual real estate. We have one of the top 100 cryptocurrency in the world with Sand token, still active. And I felt like we haven't done enough as well for the content creator, like people who are building and still building today. It has more than 1,500 experience live on Sandbox map. They're still struggling with these similar challenges. Like even though they own the NFTs, they can make sales through the marketplace of NFTs. That's not enough for them to create engagement and monetization. So we went back to the drawing board. We've been thinking like what or more tools and system we can enable, and now what will be announced tomorrow, 9 p.m. Singapore time, will essentially and hopefully be an answer for them, like to access a wider range of possibility, to engage their audience, to build monetization, and to access more funding.
Can you give us a teaser of what's going to be announced tomorrow?
That's the teaser. I can only invite you to follow me on social media, to watch the news when it go out. Unfortunately, it's a wonder. We have an event called the Sun House on October 1st at the Glassdome. You're all free to join. There will be a few speakers on stage, including Yatsu from Animoca, Mathieu Luzaret, the president of Sandbox, Cyril Fordet, the head of Sandbox DAO, and myself. And then we'll have also a panel discussion with some of our new partners for this specific massive announcement.
Very well. Sounds good. So 9 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to look out for the new amazing announcement. And also, when you talk about distribution of these rewards to the content creators, you mentioned that in the traditional economy, it would take like 1 to 2 months, which is bizarre. And Web3 makes it like really efficient and instant.
Yes.
But to participate as a content creator in the creator economy of Web3, of course, Sandbox has done a tremendous job in onboarding like 8 million users. That's something to celebrate. But today, do you see it is as seamless to create content and become a content creator and make money in Web3 as it is in Web2? Or do you see any gaps, and which of course provides an opportunity to be filled?
You know, surprisingly, I would say like maybe the technology made it simple, no matter like the Web2 or Web3, but the distribution is probably harder yet in Web3. So a lot of content creators, they build their audience, they are very popular with the traditional Web2 content platform, YouTube, Twitch, Discord, Patreon, Substack, Sandbox, Fortnite, Roblox, and so on. And yet, like when you are going to reach out to those content creators and you say, hey, I have built this great Web3 based platform with all those incentive, reward, and system, they are not likely to move. And why? Is because their audience is in Web2. Like, so the effort to start over, to publish again the content, to build a new channel, etc., it might not be worth like the potential upside that they would get. So we have to provide solution that works for the content creator and their audience where they are, to give value both to the communities, to the fans, to the people who watch their streams daily or on a irregular period, and abstract the complexity of Web3 so we don't frighten them in a way and make them shy away, and keep them being able to publish and monetize on the existing channel that we have. I believe so, and then hopefully that will be the right angle to breach those audiences.
You mentioned something very interesting that has always kept me curious throughout. It's the classic chicken and egg problem. It exists in every business at every stage. But let's pinpoint on the creators economy that we are focusing on. Audience and the creators, right? So when you were able to bring in 8 million content creators or 8 million users who are now being a part of this creators economy, what goes down in that thought process? Do you focus first on winning the audience, or do you focus first on winning the creators, or both? What's the psychology there? How do you strategize?
So for Sandbox, the strategy has always been to bring the creator first and showcase example of content that they made. We seeded the content originally by subsidizing it. So back in 2011, with the mobile 2D pixel art, we paid 100 pixel artists for 6 months to produce roughly 1,000 pixel art that we put in the gallery of the game, so that when the game goes live and people come in, it was not just, hey, this is a great UGC tool, but this is an empty gallery waiting for you to fill it. There was already an inspiration that set the tone to have like, oh, wow, like that, what people are doing on this platform, it's great. That inspired me as well to join it. When we built the Sandbox blockchain-based version in 2017 as well, we had various like creator program, builder challenge that originally supported like voxel artists, 3D designers, to produce content with our tool VoxEdit, to build the first experiences, game jams as well were part of this element to attract the content and the creator first. We produce a tool for the content creators as well, like following their feedback, improving our no-code game maker and VoxEdit. Because when you build a new platform, I believe like it should be first and foremost for the creators to express their creativity in new ways that you will not find in other formats and other platforms. If it is to just bring the same content on the new platform, we've seen it before, it doesn't work. Like putting your YouTube video on TikTok doesn't work. Putting your Instagram video on TikTok doesn't work. The audience are different, the tools and the code of those platforms are different. And in a chicken and egg problem, in any UGC platform, I believe you always have to put skin in the game yourself, either by subsidizing the creators, either by buying the content yourself. So I was one of the first collector. Every time a content creator was making an NFT, I was buying one copy of it to say, "Wait, I'm proud to support you. I'm proud to build my collection together with you as well." I didn't invent anything. If you just look at eBay or AliExpress or Alibaba and the Jack Ma model, anything that someone was putting on sale on this peer-to-peer marketplace, Jack Ma and his team was buying himself and putting in a garage and filling it with all the things that the people sold until the experience was, and the word on the street or the forums on internet was like, anything you put online on that platform, it will sell. And that's why you will recommend it to your users. So you always have to think through, okay, it's not about like providing great tools with great capabilities. No, like any content I will put on that platform, someone will buy it, someone will watch it, someone will play it. And that's the exciting part. And that's what the content creator actually look for.
Oh, very interesting. Now, I think it will be good to talk about the underlying infrastructure. So we've spoken about the creator economy. We've spoken about the importance of audience and creators and how these rewards are being distributed. How important is the underlying infrastructure? And by that, I mean the blockchain. What kind of blockchain do you think will really be supportive? Because here we are talking about a lot of microtransactions. Money is involved, security is important, and scale is important. So how do you imagine what kind of blockchain infrastructure supports this growth?
So in 2025, I would be lying if I told you we need a new blockchain infrastructure and a whole new technology behind and a proof of stake of proof of work consensus mechanism. That was back in 2016 or 17 that you had to invent those. Nowadays, making your own blockchain is so much commoditized with the rollups, ZK, and there's a lot of layer 2's sidechain over Ethereum that comes out of the box. And so we'll be announcing something soon that basically doesn't try to build technology for the sake of technology, but you utilize what's available, built by other great teams, smart team that comes with great engineering behind, and package it in the way that where we understood where's the market, that we understood our audience, our go-to-market, and brings the best of like the Sandbox brand, the Sand token, and everything we've achieved to build until today to support the creator economy behind.
Got it. So I got for everybody a small teaser of what's going to be announced tomorrow. That was the reason for this question. Stepping aside a little from again, because you're literally an OG in the blockchain and in the crypto industry, I would love to pick your brains on. So there are two ways that live in the crypto industry. One is, of course, the creators, the more fun, the gaming angle, and second is the institutional applications of blockchain. What do you think? Where is the blockchain industry moving when it comes to institutional adoption? And is that going to be, because I personally believe I'm like heavy on the belief of blockchain use cases when it comes to institutions, when it comes to banks. How do you see that evolving from your lens?
I think there's been a lot of evolution since the beginning of the year and last year in the space of like institutional adoption of blockchain. It's mostly been unlocked by change in the regulatory environment, specifically from the US. And now you have like those institutions, pension fund, the banks, fund manager who can finally acquire assets, a new asset class where they can tokenize with real world assets, like certain categories of commodities, certain category of assets, and bringing on chain. And so it's interesting because all this year, I think like a lot of like the crypto adoption is coming more from this institutional level, everything related to like real world asset, stable coin, and bridging liquidity through that. It's not yet translating into, I would say, consumer, retail, entertainment, and culture adoption. So those two are coexisting. Bitcoin is probably the asset class that has like been winning the most from this vision of like, let's accept Bitcoin, let's make Bitcoin more, and everything related to digital asset treasuries and so on. But you never know the moment of time where like there will be this switch, this gap. Someone will figure out, I wouldn't call it a bridge, but will figure out a creative way that like this money that's been captured and put on chain in different form will potentially flow back into like more of the gaming sector, cultural sector, art, and other industries that are a bit more on the fun side of like how we use blockchain.
So are you saying that the capital inflow will primarily be driven by the institutional use cases and the big asset classes, which will then eventually flow down to the creator economy, for example?
I think that's the hope. That's what we've seen before in the playbook. In 2021, a lot of like the Bitcoin whales and Ethereum whales, when they started to see like art could come on chain, and there was this moment where people sold this artwork that's combination of 500 days of work for $69 million. There was a haha moment where like people understood that basically cryptocurrency could and blockchain technology could be more than a store of value, but become a store of culture. And from that moment on, we've seen NFTs that represent art, that represent profile pictures, that represent games item and avatar. And then we've seen everything move into like a meme coin and basically more liquidity attached to culture. And now we're seeing a sort of like compounding effect where like there is all of those accumulate, and we have like creators token on chain, we have like bird decks, we have the success of Launchpad and people earning from the trade fees instead of the royalties before when they were trading those NFTs. So it's exciting to follow, and like how it's expanding sometimes in unexpected ways.
Got it. Sticking on to at this point, because it's very important, right? Because this is how our industry trickles down. The capital flow comes in majority driven by the institutional use cases and let's say the Bitcoin whales or Ethereum whales. They drive the market, and that kind of then trickles down to the more fun use cases of Web3, like the creator economy or the arts coming on chain and many other applications. So the driver here is the institutions, or the big capital moves from there. That is where the treasury is being kept. But the adoption on that side is the slowest. The adoption on the fun side is the most fastest. With and the classic example that I can take is banks. How many banks are currently using blockchains? So it is up and coming. I know, there are many institutions, many banks which are now starting to take it seriously. Amazon is coming up, JP Morgan, all of the MetaMask, all of them are coming up with their stable coins. And then, of course, the private banks and the CBDCs is a big use case. The previous panel talked about it. Is our infrastructure, are the blockchains that we are using today ready to support this $1 trillion worth of movement? When the private banks come in, when the governments come in, we are not talking about millions or billions. We're talking about trillions moving on a daily basis.
So I wish I could say yes, but if you listen to like some expert in the field, like why are like the public stock market not fully on chain yet? Why are not market like commodities on chain? Apparently, the amount of transaction volume that's required cannot be processed and settled fast enough by the current blockchain. So that's why, like the level of scalability that's required by those networks is still insufficient. It doesn't mean that any asset class will not come on chain, but for the amount of money that's being transacting every day and everything that comes from that behind, it seems like the current solution on market have not been sufficient.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's also a big gap in the when we look at what is a perfect infra. So this part of the world, which is like the more fun utilities, versus the institutional part of the world, what is a perfect infra? The definition of that is completely different.
The way you can think of it is like, let's take Solana. Solana is still like a high performing blockchain. When Trump launched his coin and they had like probably something like 400,000 traders of it, like it crashed Solana for some time. So we're seeing many moments, interestingly, where like the demand for the technology crashed. I remember the first games that crashed Polygon because even though it's a layer 2, that was like too much demand for certain NFTs. I remember the time like the crypto kitties were like spiking gas fees on Ethereum to $5 or above, and that slowed down everything else. But still today, it's interesting as well because we've overcome those challenges. The blockchain will become more efficient. The transaction fees are lesser, obviously. And that opens a bunch of opportunities. If I make the comparison with gaming, there might be there were days where like playing 64 players a real-time multiplayer game like Fortnite was impossible. We were just 8, 16, 32. Now I think on average a good shooter game is around 200 simultaneously players playing simultaneously, sorry, in a game. And so as the engines get better, as we keep like utilizing math to improve the bandwidth consumption, the latency of networks, we optimize how much information is really needed and to be shared, we can build better gameplay on top of that. That what makes it exciting to use it.
Yeah, and another really interesting topic in the evolution of blockchain, and you mentioned about Solana. The Solana founder also made a comment on that about the quantum threat. What do you think about it?
I think it's a great time to raise awareness very early about that problem because the quantum computer is getting a much more accessible pricing wise than we thought. It's no longer requiring a few huge stadium rooms to be built. And so for anyone who's actually deeper in the space or curious and been researching, you're starting to see like indeed quantum computer that's the size, lesser than the size of a house, and soon they will become the size of like a regular computer, and then it will be the size of a phone eventually one day. And it's only a matter of time until like what we believe are unbreakable algorithm because of like the assumption of by Moore laws, sorry, and a lot of things were reputed like very hard to crack and deciphered because it took hundreds of years of computation will become suddenly very easy and accessible when you rethink the approach. Now, it would be great to have a form of consortium that look at it from not just from the blockchain side security, because it really affects a lot more aspect of like in general encryption, security, communications, satellite system, and more. And I believe, because I'm always an optimist, like with every challenge comes new opportunity. So like we'll rethink security as a whole to be quantum proof.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sebastien. I think this was a very insightful conversation. And once again, I invite everybody to follow Sebastien and look out for the amazing announcement tomorrow, 9 p.m. Singapore time. We did get a teaser about it here today. Thank you, Sebastien. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Kapil. Definitely.